Welcome to the Dundies 250 at Pocono Raceway here on twitch.tv on Casa de la Horseboat. Happy to have you. I have a special guest tonight. Austin Green will be joining us here in a few minutes to help me call this race, as we're just a couple minutes away from qualifying, but wanted to bring you in now. Wanted to give a big shout out to Tiger Eye 1121 and Grizzly 8833 for the follows recently, as well as Ryan Racer. Thank you. Now we are up to 211 followers here on the year and excited to have it. Happy to have you in the lobby here tonight hanging out with me. Go ahead and throw some chats out. Would love to see it. Looks like we've got another follower here, IcyJ10. Thank you for the follow. Again, Austin Green coming up here in a few moments, but just wanted to bring you up to speed on what we have going out on the track. Have about 2 minutes away from the action, as you can hear the sounds of the track behind me. We're going to get right into the swing of things here with the schedule. The schedule is heating up. Just 2 races away after this one from the playoffs beginning. As you can see, the highlighted portions in blue, that is when the playoffs start. So Atlanta Motor Speedway on July 28th for the Old Smoky Moonshine 250. That will be the debut for the playoffs. And then October 6th, which is Gears Presents the finale, only here on Casa de la Horseboat. Again, tonight we're going to be here, Pocono Raceway for the Dundies 250. Next week, it's going to be the Sonoma Raceway for the Coors Banquet 100, and that's on July 14th. And then the last race, the last hope for drivers if they're looking to get into the playoffs, is going to be at Legacy Texas Motor Speedway. Not the newly paved Texas Motor Speedway, but Legacy Texas for the Boot Barn 250. So be here on July 21st for the finale of the regular season. Points, another hot issue now in the standings. Mike DeWalt is still your leader, has led most of the way with 10 chase points with him, 2 poles and 1 win. Consistency has been a good thing for Mike DeWalt. Sean Anderson still a little bit over 100 points, about 115 out in second place. Again, those numbers in blue indicate the chase spots. The highlighted numbers over them means they are locked into the chase. On the outside looking in is Aiden Lund, Keaton Sawyers, basically the 2 realistic people that can get in, that's on the bubble, fighting with Brian Lukin and Robert Fitzpatrick Sr. So that's going to be something to look out here for tonight as we head into Pocono, because this race really is a key moment for these guys sitting on the bubble to kind of nose their way in there. Perrin Huggins have had some rough luck as of late. Jonathan Militia as well. Matt Albert had some unfortunate incidents last week. So, again, anything can happen here with 3 weeks to go into the playoffs. Just about set and ready to go with qualifying. See what I can do to bring you some of that. All right, let's bring you in with Lucas Reed. Going to help kick it off at Pocono Raceway. Your live look at a speedometer there and what he's looking at for time. So this is his warm-up lap here now. Bring back in some tunage. Could always use a little tune. Sorry for the sudden burst of it. And have a little music for qualifying. Why not? Lucas Reed again in that 10 car. Chevy Camaro Craftsman Tools. Showing some love. Zip it around. See what we can do here in the tunnel turn. Nice and deep. That's what she said. Again, because it's the Dundies tonight, I stress to the admin and the staff, I will be saying a lot of office references. So get ready for that. Coming across the final turn into the finish line. Let's see what he's got. He's going to start us off with a 54.07, with Nick Wood coming behind him with 54.3. That's what she said. Mark Holloway clocking in with a 54.29. Jeremy Beal. Mike DeWalt with a 54 flat, leading us off. There we go. Finally got my tree to work right. Jeez Louise. Sean Anderson with a 53.91 for his first lap. We're going to stay with Lucas Reed to see if he can make any improvements on his. Coming across turn 3. Let's see where he clocks in. Can he improve his 4th place qualifying spot? And he will. He'll put himself on the pole with a 53.82. Sean Anderson right now with a 53.91. Cody Johnson 53.92. So these lap times are hella close. Jeremy Beal with a 53.88 clocking in. See if there's anybody else we can ride along with for the moment. Gonna ride along with Keaton Sawyers. Gears Cup Series 2022 champion from Kingsport, Tennessee. In that Twisted T Chevy Camaro. Shortly, we're going to bring in Austin Green. Hope you guys are ready for him. Happy to have him along tonight in the booth. We'll get him in here in just a moment. Keaton Sawyers clocking in with a 53.96. Good enough for 8th place. John Cutlip. Looks like qualifying 6th for the show. Talon Smith with a 53.42. And see what Ethan Burrell has got. Again, a ton of drivers here showing up. Happy to see it. Looks like Burrell's first time puts him in 10th with a 53.89. Talon Smith, your pole sitter. Perrin Huggins in 2nd. Sean Anderson, Elliott Drummond. Elliott Drummond just moved into 3rd with a 53.50. Coming into the treacherous turn 2 tunnel. Can't wait to see how that's going to play out here tonight. Hits it nice and deep. Going into the turn 3. And it looks like we lost him. We're going to go to warm-up. And without further ado, I'm going to bring in the man, the myth, the legend, Austin Green. Austin, thank you so much. You give me a little mic check here. See how you're doing. I'm going to replay that intro again there. Without further ado, Austin Green with us here tonight. You couldn't hear me because I had my mic muted because I was so worried about my stream being unmuted for you to talk. But welcome, Austin. Happy to have you. And let's go racing.
Man, I'm excited to be here. First of all, thanks for having me. Pocono, the Tricky Triangle. It's always one of those fun tracks to commentate. I feel like I picked a good one here on the schedule. And we'll see what these guys can do tonight. Looking like a pretty good field. And haven't seen the Gators for a little while. We'll see what they can do.
Yeah, it has been a minute since you've been here, but it has been really action-packed. The last month, we've seen a jump in some new drivers, and it really has really quantified in some really good quality racing. Now, I think early on we might see some incidents early, but I think once everybody, the field kind of levels out, we're going to have ourselves a damn good race here tonight.
Absolutely. We got to consider, 100 laps around this at least 2.5 mile track. It's going to be a long time. These guys are going to have to stay patient early. But the restarts, they're just as important. If you're not aggressive, you're not going to get track position. And we know with these next gens, dirty air is a big killer. And I think whoever's got probably the cleanest air, of course, being out in front, is going to have the best shot in this race. So I look to see him spreading out 3, 4, maybe even 5 wide on that wide front straightaway on these restarts.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. This is all the action that is Gears Cup Series. Again, 3 weeks away from the playoffs. And let's break it down here for you tonight. As Austin mentioned, we have 100 laps. Stage breaks will be at the completion of lap 15 and then again at the completion of lap 45. Each team is going to have one fast repair, 5 tire sets, and again, as always, 50% fuel capacity. Cautions will always be manual, as we do not have the automatic caution set up here on iRacing. Weather's auto-generated, race times the afternoon, and the setup, of course, is Pocono. Again, 100 laps. It's going to be a sprint here for 15 of them here in the beginning. Hopefully, that's going to result in some good green flag racing. We'll let you enjoy the tunage here before we get going. Green flag. Again, you are watching the Gears Cup Series on the Horseboat channel here on Twitch.tv. All right, we are back getting ready to grid up for 100 laps at Pocono Raceway. Let's get the grid out there for you all to see. So again, Talon Smith is going to be on row 1 with Perrin Huggins outside of him. Row 2 is going to be John Cutlip and Elliott Drummond. Row 3 is Sean Anderson and Matthew Weeks. Row 4 is going to be Cody Johnson and Lucas Reed. Row 5 is going to be Jeremy Beal and Ethan Burrell. And row 6 is going to be Keaton Sawyers and Kyle Munson. Kyle Munson and then Keaton Sawyers. Side of row 7 is going to be Mike DeWalt and Tyler Steiner. Row 8, Nick Wood and Tyler Curley. Row 9 is going to be Brandon Smith and John Howard. Row 10, Michael Menchaca. Trying to get my, there we go. Haha, there we go. And Mike DeWalt and Tyler Steiner. Row 7, Nick Wood, Tyler Curley. Row 8, Brandon Smith, John Howard. Row 9, Michael Menchaca and Mark Halloway. Row 10, as we're going to rotate these on back so you can see your driver and see where they qualified here for tonight's Dundies 250. All right, let's kill the music in Austin. I know you haven't seen us in a long time or in a minute, but you remember some of the household names. They're still here. They're still cracking. If you had a prediction tonight?
Absolutely. I was going to say first guy that catches my eye is going to be Cody Johnson starting in row 4 on the outside. I did not forget about this guy from the Heat 5 days, and I've heard good things so far. So we'll see what he can do tonight. But watching the warm-up and the qualifying session, Talon Smith, a lot of speed, but, you know, we know that things can change throughout the long run. But everybody being on fixed setups, it's going to be fun to watch.
Indeedly do, Austin. As we get ready for 100 laps again, it's going to be a 15-lap sprint here for stage 1. As the pace car getting ready to go off. And we're going to get set for some green flag racing coming out of turn 3. Talon Smith is going to lead us on for his debut in the Gears Cup Series.
Green flag.
And we are green flag racing for the Dundies 250. All right, Huggins now working the outside right away, 2 by 2. Some guys electing to go to the top, some guys electing to go to the bottom. So far, so good.
Restart was a lot calmer than I thought it would be. We got some guys going in the wrong direction here. It looks like Ethan Burrell is falling back just a couple of positions from the 47th car. Now he picks another spot up. There's starting to get a little bit more spread out, but not the 3 and 4 wide I was looking for on that front stretch. Meanwhile, up front, sure enough, Talent Smith leads him down into the tunnel turn here for lap 1.
Again, everybody good except for in the back. Let's see. Looks like that was Christopher Pugliese getting into somebody there in the tunnel turn, or somebody getting into him. As we're at the Kevin's Chili Cam here, the Blimp Cam here tonight.
You see Keaton Sailors, already starting to make his way through the field in the Twisted T13 machine. He's going to drop down low. Now that long front straightaway, besides getting 3 and 4 wide, it also creates a lot of draft for everybody. And you're going to see him probably pull up 2 or 3 tenths depending on the run they get out of turn 3. Of course, there being no turn 4 here at Pocono. But I think one of the keys to this race is who can somehow find a way to get that outside line working in turns 1 and 2. I haven't really seen too many people get it going yet, but Lucas Reed, the Technicolor, one of the guys that I've seen made it work that lap. We'll see what he can do going forward.
Looking in now, Cody Johnson battling for Kyle Munson for 8th. Sean Anderson right there. A lot of action all over the track. Mike DeWalt right there in the Sports Clips 20. Again, all battling for that 7th position that Sean Anderson has. Kind of the second group, as it were, as looks like Smith, Huggins, Cutlip, Drummond, and Weeks.
Yellow.
And we've got our first caution. Let's see if we can find this baby.
Back of the field, Mark Holloway.
Mark
Got
Holloway.
pointed in the wrong direction.
Yikes. Let's back it up and see what we can find out here. The Gears instant replay. All right, let's get good and close. Got Menchaca there. Ooh, looks like Holloway just gets in it. Oh, it gets punted. Yikes. Gets punted, looks like by the 45. Looks like Chris Lawrence. Yeah, it looks
That's
like
a big hit.
that is a big hit. Good thing you have a fast repair. Lawrence has sent him in right up into Fitzpatrick Sr., and that's going to do some damage as far as Fitzpatrick. Again, probably going to have to use that fast repair right away, which is unfortunate 2 laps in.
It's a good thing he has it, but certainly going to have to bide his time the rest of the way. Now, just before that, I guess kind of right as it happened, I saw the 91 a little bit further up in the pack. Kind of almost the same look, was able to hang on to it, didn't have anybody behind him. But these guys, for only being a few laps in, they're getting really, really loose, especially off turn 3. These long runs, they're going to be brutal. Now, I know 50% fuel, they may not have to go as long as you normally would, but
yeah,
man, I wouldn't be surprised if we see quite a few guys come in this early and just get one of those 5 sets.
Well, I think it might be almost detrimental to do that at this point. You know, for that getting loose out of 3 has been the common theme. We expected that at practice. We incurred that and experienced that during the little practice race that we had. So people who put in the practice time are going to know how to deal with it. You're going to find out real quickly who hasn't dealt with that yet.
Certainly. Fun factor, well, I guess not really a fun fact, but kind of interesting. You see him pacing, of course, single file. Now that tunnel turn is probably the only turn on the track where I don't think we're going to see too much too wide here tonight. If we do, it may not end too well. But so far, Talon Smith, Perrin Huggins, they have probably been the class of the field, as of course they've been running top 2 just about the whole night. But we saw Cody Johnson, Mike DeWalt, a couple of these guys further back, just outside your top 10, really starting to get into it, battling it out. And I got to wonder what lap, Tom, is it at that point where you got to kind of stop battling and start to save your stuff.
Yeah, and I think if it was anything other than a 15-lap sprint for points, I don't think they would be going as hard. You know what I mean? It might be, they might be just be playing nice, but it looks like they were going hard trying to get those stage points. Mike DeWalt trying to stay on top of the point standings, and in this league now with how many people we have, it's definitely a scratch and claw type of game.
Certainly looks that way from the start. Got a couple on the pits here. Looks like Matt Albert is going to be one of them. Got the Rocket League car. That's a pretty cool paint scheme just in front of him. The 33 of Brandon Mier is going to take a stop in the Red Bull, and we'll see how many of these guys are just fuel and how many of them are going to be tires. Green flag stops. A little bit tricky here at Pocono. I feel like probably not the hardest pit stops that we're going to go to throughout the season, but man, you got a lot of speed getting ready to go down that front straightaway, and you don't want to accidentally miss pit road here. It's a long ways back.
Yeah, absolutely. And since we have a moment, you kind of want to plug your channel and what you do?
Yeah, actually, I appreciate that. Well, first of all, got to give you the shout out here. Let me join you here tonight. But I do some broadcasting over for Ghost Racing Network. We just got the YouTube partnership program, I believe is what it's called recently. So going pretty good over there. But I mean, the racing here tonight is what I decided to come for. Nothing really in it for me besides getting to watch some of the guys I used to race with go at it. And of course, getting to commentate with you, Tom. So appreciate letting me get this shout out in there, but I'm ready to go back to green for this thing.
Oh, absolutely, as am I. Yeah, I kind of tune in every now and again, and it's nice to see that you've grown so well as a broadcaster, man. Hats off to you and what you've been able to accomplish.
I appreciate that. Now, we've had a couple guys making their way through the field here. Maybe not the ones that are completely at the front. Haven't had too much movement in the top 5, but looking back, Trey Holmes up 10 from where he started. Nathan Fuller, he's up 11 from where he started. And Elias Morales, he's another driver up 11 positions from where he started, rounding out your top 20.
Yeah, that is definitely a good astute assessment there. Nathan Fuller has been a dominant force in the league all season long. I'm kind of surprised to see him in 18th. Maybe Pocono's not his cup of tea, but he, like you said, he's moved up 11 positions since he started. Elias Morales doing the same. And Trey Holmes, this guy, I've been impressed with him since he's joined about a month ago. He's very good. We've got from Tiger Eye 1121, let's go Menchaca. Let's give you some eyes on Mr. Michael Menchaca. There he is in all his glory. Sit in his car for a minute and say what is up. Again, hopefully you all at home are having a good time. Black Sheep, glad to see you back and having some drinks with me tonight. I will sure to be kicking back a few myself, but do appreciate the shout out.
I got to be honest, Tom, one of the things I'm waiting for here, and it's just a matter we're going to get them, is the advertisements. The special advertisements that you only get here at the Gears Cup Series. Can't wait to break those out a little bit later, but as we're getting ready to go back green here, looks like you're going to have Talon Smith, Perrin Huggins making up row 1, John Cutlip, and Elliot Drumman, making up row 2. Matthew Weeks rounding out your top 5. I don't know, what are we thinking here?
Well, Perrin Huggins, as I don't know if you can see, he's a damn good racer. He's been good all season long. The last few weeks have been troublesome for him. He's been getting caught up in the wrecks, and it's really starting to affect any type of points cushion he had to make the playoffs. So he's really going to have to make a strong push tonight to show any type of result, as it were. As you mentioned, advertisements, we don't do those anymore here. we no longer do those, unfortunately, but maybe we'll bring those back one day.
Well, certainly a lot more exciting stuff to watch then nonetheless, but be interesting here. Sometimes cautions tend to breed cautions. Only 6 laps in. I think these guys will still stay pretty tame. We're getting ready for the restart here as pace car is going to pull off.
And the hammer is going to be put down by Talon Smith as we are getting set to go back to green flag race at the Dundies 250. And we have about 8 laps to go before the conclusion of stage 1. Talon Smith out to a good lead. John Cutlip reporting there. Outside of him is going to be Perrin Huggins. As they go through 1 and 2, looks like everybody's getting along nicely for the most part.
There's a little bit of a checkup there on the outside line. It kind of stacked up the further back you got. There was some through-wide action towards the back, but up front, side-by-side for second right now between Perrin Huggins and John Cutlip. They're going to have to sort this thing out quickly. We talked about, I thought a tunnel turn would not be a side-by-side option, but these guys are making it look easy. The next gen's more downforce than what they used to have in previous years, so they're making it work right now. But the 11, where does he think about going? That's Matthew Weeks. Mathai Weeks, excuse me.
You call him Matthew. It's Matthew. You're good. You're good to go. Matthew Weeks, a guy who won a couple weeks his first race here. This group up front, the top 5, they basically have taken this league by storm and then by hostage.
And they're starting to try to single file out here a little bit. The 53, Talon Smith, just as he did in qualifying, starting to try to pull away from the rest of the field, setting down those fast lap times. He doesn't have to worry about too much pressure out back as the 8 car sits about 3 car lengths back, maybe 3/10 of a second back. But as they get more and more single file, it's going to be harder and harder to make up those positions. And as these tires start to wear out, this next lap, we're going to be coming to 7 to go in stage 1.
And who mentioned the man you mentioned before, Trey Holmes, Nathan Fuller, they are battling it out right now for 14th and 15th. Those guys respectively have started or have gotten to 13th and 14th better position. So they are battling it out there mid-pack. A lot of action all over the place. I can move the camera literally anywhere and you're going to find something. Again, single cars now starting to file out for the moment, but again, people still aggressive, trying to get inside that top 10, get that top 7. That's what really matters for points. Jeremy Beal, a new driver in this league, just joined recently, and we're happy to have him in that 47 Chevrolet Camaro.
The track map, well, I know the viewers may not be able to see it at the current moment, but the field's pretty close together, all things considered. We don't really have any lap traffic to worry about. Everybody is still running on the lead lap here, only 9 laps in. That's pretty good for 32 cars to start this thing. We only had that one incident. Looks like the 19 had got himself cleaned up. And a little update on Mark Holloway. While he is down 9 positions from where he started, he's starting to get things back together. We'll see what he can do. But as they work their way down the front straightaway, this is a good chance to kind of point out. You're seeing it kind of sporadically throughout the field, Tom, and that's the guys that dive all the way just about down to those checkered flag stripes. And you can do that here at Pocono, kind of what we like to call breaking the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you were talking, there was a battle with Josh Cole, Brandon Smith, and Matt Albert on the front stretch. It just got sorted out. We just missed the hot action. Looks like Brandon Smith in a 56 DraftKings Toyota Camry. Running along, looks like a 25th.
You're not kidding. I mean, man, the 53 kind of felt like a rock there in the lap or so that we took the camera off of him, it seemed like. Got to wonder, maybe did he use his stuff up a little bit too much early? I feel like the fall-off would have lasted a little longer than that, but we'll have a good idea probably in that third stage just how long these Goodyear tires can last and how much time they're going to lose from here to the end of a run. Got to think somewhere between probably a second to a second and a half worth of fall-off at least. But those top 5, although single file, they haven't really left each other. They're still pretty close together.
Yeah, and Perrin Huggins is a guy, like I mentioned before, last few weeks he has ran into trouble. Has gotten himself into a little bit of a trouble, a little bit of a talking to, as it were. But he's your leader right now and a new one. Number 29 in the Miller Lite Ford Mustang. Right behind him is Elliott Drummond, a guy that has been runner-up a couple times in recent weeks. A guy who's just scratching and itching for a win. Can he get himself another stage win?
I think he can, Tom. I mean, he's doing a great job here. He's not overdriving the car. He's just putting enough pressure on the 8. And if Perrin makes just the slightest mistake, you know the 29 is going to be there. But look at this, that big draft down the front straightaway. It gives him a chance. Straightaway, excuse me. We'll see if he decides to dive to the inside. He doesn't. Going to continue to try to make the 8 make a mistake first.
As we're riding along with Elliott Drummond right now, kind of get a sense of where he's at. Get into the mind of an Elliott Drummond. To the inside he goes.
We're going to have to sort it out down here in the tunnel turn. He's going to send it in. He makes it stick. Out of the tunnel turn, new leader. It's going to be the 29 of Elliott Drummond. How about that, up 3 from where he started? But watch out, John Cutlip, he's ready to get back up here in the battle as well in the 28 machine.
Elliott Drummond made that pass look so easy, didn't he?
He did, and further back, the 11 and the 53, I wonder if they had a little disagreement. The 53's coming to the pits.
And that you see is Talon Smith coming to pit lane, dropping down 23 and falling. That is unfortunate. Hopefully everything is okay with the 53 car. Back out front now. Closing laps of stage 1 are upon us. Elliott Drummond, Perrin Huggins, John Cutlip, Matthew Weeks, Sean Anderson, Jeremy Beal, Mike DeWalt, Tyler Curley, Kyle Munson, and Trey Holmes, your top 10.
You kind of shocked what I was just going to point out. At the back of those top 10, we had a fierce battle there down the short chute into the tunnel turn between, it looked like it might have been Mike DeWalt, Tyler Curley, and I believe it was Kyle Munson. They got it sorted out as the 40 continues to fall some positions now. Ooh, the 9 car got really, really tight off the turn there. Cody Johnson as well looking to take advantage, but he's under fire right now from the 37 of Ethan Burrell. And coming to what next lap is going to be the final lap in the stage. I think Elliott Drummond might have this thing all but finished up.
Elliott Drummond, John Cutlip, Perrin Huggins is dropping. Oh, he's blinking and he's back.
That must have hurt him because he almost got up into the outside wall. The 28's going to
Yeah.
have a shot at him here. Does he take it? Doesn't look like he's going to quite have enough to drive it in. Maybe try a dive bomb move this time, but he is going to get a big arc. Watch for the momentum to carry down the front stretch. That big draft is going to play into a factor right here for John Cutlip. We'll see what he can do. 1 to go here in stage 1.
Austin Green, I couldn't say it better myself. 1 to go here in stage 1 of the Dundies 250. Elliott Drummond, Perrin Huggins, John Cutlip, Matthew Weeks, and Sean Anderson, your top 5. Let's go to the Kevin Chili Bowl blimp cam. Get you a shot of the gap between first and second. Over a half second now.
And the biggest battle on track right now was between Mike DeWalt and Sean Anderson. Mike DeWalt and Jeremy Beal, but they're going to sort it out. Meanwhile, up front, Elliott Drummond, he's got one more corner. Can he make it work?
Looks like he will, Austin. Coming around the final turn, or for the final time for stage 1. Your winner is going to be Elliott Drummond, stage 1 winner of the Dundies 250.
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
With Huggins, Cutlip, Matthew Weeks, Sean Anderson, Mike DeWalt, and Jeremy Beal all getting stage points.
And man, John Cutlip and Matthew Weeks, they had a really close battle coming to the finish. But John Cutlip was able to just beat him by about half a car.
Well, stage 1 is in the books. Now we're going to have a 30 laps or so jaunt for stage 2. And then, then it'll be a 55 lap dash for the cash. Who will win the Dundies 250 trophy? We'll have to find out next. Hope you're taking in the sights and sounds. That is Pocono Raceway. Again, our view from pit lane right now. I am Tom Torrey, aka the Horseboat. Alongside me tonight is Austin Green, our special guest. Again, Austin, thank you for coming on, taking the moments to come out and hang out with us. I know you got a lot of broadcasting yourself to do. But what has impressed you here tonight?
Well, obviously the green flag racing, right? I mean, one caution, nothing really, just kind of, I guess you could classify it as a racing incident. Somebody got a little loose off turn 3 rather. There's no turn 4 here at Pocono. And that, of course, was Mark Holloway got tagged from the back. But besides that, the other thing that's impressed me is how close these guys have been able to stay together. I mean, I brought it up at the beginning of the broadcast. I thought dirty air was really going to hurt a lot of these cars. Now, I know guys are able to race a little bit harder than they will in that third stage in these first two being as short as they are. But man, the top five, might as well throw them all under a blanket for most of that first stage. And they're going to have some work ahead of them as they got a little bit shuffled up this time. And we'll see. Talon Smith, I think he tried a little strategy there, Tom, and I think it's going to work out pretty well for him.
Yeah, I mean, Talon is a guy that I think we had a lot of questions about because of his I rating being so high. He's very, very talented. He comes in with a great record. A guy that I thought was maybe a little bit overqualified for us, but he's fitting in just fine so far as we are just getting into the first part of this race. Again, we go green flag racing. We're going to have about 35 laps or so. Or excuse me, 25 laps. So it is the completion of lap 45. So Brandon Smith, go ahead.
I was just going to say, when we get the 1-to-go signal here, I'm not 100% sure, so you have to set me if I'm wrong. I don't believe there's any choose cone. So as these guys line up here, double file, I almost think I maybe like the idea of being in that outside line here only for the restart. I don't know if these guys, but it is a long straightaway, so they might have enough speed to where the inside is kind of the advantage. You really send it in. But the 56 of Brandon Smith, kind of his first time up here, at least in the front row tonight. And it's going to be interesting to see what everybody else does behind him.
Yeah, the Smith boys on the front row, and then you got Matthew Weeks and Sean Anderson, Ethan Burrell and Trey Holmes, and then you have, looks like, Nathan Fuller and Perrin Huggins, and then Elliot Drummond and Brandon Meyer, your top 10. So a couple of guys there that haven't been up front here tonight are making some names for themselves early on here. Hopefully with this restart, they will compete and stay to the front. Trey Holmes, again, and Nate Fuller being the biggest movers of the night so far.
And if you are, Elliot Drummond, what do you do here? You probably have one of the top 3 cars, at least up to this point tonight. Do you try to go for it on the restart? Do you maybe play it safe, let it spread out just a little bit? Keep an eye on Mike DeWalt as well, the 10, Lucas Reed. These guys all on the inside. They're going to have a chance at making those 3, potentially 4 wide moves. And if it's anything like the first restart, it should be pretty calm and tame, but you never know. I feel like each restart, later this race goes, the more aggressive they're going to get.
Oh, yeah. Every restart is unique in its own way. Hopefully, they stay as clean as they've been. As the pace car lights are off, we're getting set to go back. Green flag racing. Again, 25 laps.
Green.
Of stage 2 action.
Did not take him long to spread out. There's the 3 and 4 wide that we were waiting to see this time.
Yep.
Looks like Elliott tried to get to the inside as well. Didn't quite work out for him this time. He seemed to get kind of trapped in the middle. Awkward spot to be in. He finally is able to get things sorted out, but up front and towards the back.
Tyler Curley goes around. He tried the win-lose effort, and he lost. Green flag racing, it will stay. He has dropped now all the way to 31st, and that is unfortunate for Mr. Curley. Again, late model driver coming over to the Gears Cup Series. He is talented, loaded with talent, just not his night. Talon Smith on the other end is your leader. Looks like Brandon Smith has backed off, but Talon is off and away with Sean Anderson in second.
Looking back at that real quick, just up here from my point of view,
yeah.
Man, Tyler Curley just got loose all by himself, as you noted, but that was a huge hit that's going to give him plenty of damage. He's definitely got to use a faster here, to say the least. Lucky that he didn't take out anyone involved. Not a lot of places to run or hide here at Pocono, but either way, unfortunate break for the 91. He's going to need a caution. Yeah,
as you mentioned, he kept it down, didn't come back up, which is smart heads-up driving by him. To keep the car out of harm's way of other drivers. So hats off to him for making it as safe as can be.
So up front, Talon Smith back to the lead. Not too surprising here. Seemed like he was one of the guys trying to contend for the most laps led, or he's going to be here tonight. But he kind of faded out after it seemed like when we had that first caution, still looked strong. 5 laps into that second one, he faded out. So I'm interested to see here once we probably get 10 to 15 laps into this one, what's going to happen. But he's pulling away right now, almost up to half a second over second place Sean Anderson, who, shout out to him, up 3 from where he started. He finds himself in second, but now under fire from Perrin Huggins.
Let's take a look at around the field. Looks like Mike DeWalt hanging on to that top 10. And then you see this other group of cars of Brandon Meyer, Jeremy Beal, John Cutlip, Lucas Reed, Tyler Steiner, and then Josh Cole kind of leading that third group with Sawyers, Altus, Howard, Wood, and Fitzpatrick. Again, lots of action all over the track. This battle here looks like for 24th, excuse me, between Albert, Pugliese, and Walding. That just concluded as we clicked on them. But some good racing. Things getting hot and heavy up front with Elliott Drummond, Brandon Smith, Nathan Fuller in there, as well as Ethan Burrell. Burrell now moved up into the 4th spot.
14 of Sean Anderson. Sorry to cut you off there, Tom.
No,
but
you're
14 of Sean Anderson. He fell like a rock there, and it almost looked like they kind of ganged up on him last lap on the short chute to the tunnel turn. He had one guy, I believe it was Farron Huggins, sure enough, it was the 8-car drop to his inside, and about 2 or 3 others all lined up. Almost did a push tandem-style draft, if you will. And you can do that here at Pocono with these long straightaways, similar to what we're used to seeing at Daytona, Talladega. And he got passed by about 3 or 4 cars before we even got to the tunnel turn. And since then, he's just not been able to get his momentum back.
Oh, somebody hit the grass over there. Brandon Smith coming like a bat out of hell to the inside of Sean Anderson in that 56 DraftKings Toyota Camry.
A lot of racing going on throughout this whole track. Another battle back here. Look out, 2 guys are going at it. Looks like it's Matt Albert, and I believe, is it Michael Walding? No, it's going to be Matt Albert and Elias Morales. They're still trying to get sorted out down into turn 1. The 61's got the advantage on the inside, but he lost it actually in the turn 1. Surprised to see Elias make the outside work as well as he did, but I've been surprised in general how well the outside worked in almost all 3 corners out here tonight.
Little tidbit about Matt Albert. Matt Albert, this is one of his favorite tracks. He claims to be pretty good here. Hopefully this is strategy because, you know, this is kind of where you want to be right now. But hopefully going that last stage, he'll make a push. But Elias Morales and him are battling it out for 23rd. Matt Albert has hunted, and he has made his kill and has moved on. Next up, Robert Fitzpatrick Sr.
Remember when we talked about earlier the top 5? It seemed like they couldn't get away from each other. Well, we're starting to see the top 5 all closing on each other again. Perrin Huggins is getting ready to get up here and give Talon Smith a run for his money now. You got to wonder, has Talon been saving his stuff a little bit this time around? He knows he's had that lead. Maybe he doesn't work those tires as hard as he did that first one, see if it helps him. Or on the flip side of that, Perrin Huggins has a rocket ship right now in the A machine. And no surprise to see Elliott Drummond. He's also back inside the top 5 now.
Oh, and you see a little move out of line for Ethan Burrell, but then calmly collects himself and goes right back in the line behind Matthew Weeks. Brandon Smith falling back out to 6 now in that second group. And there is quite the gap between them.
Yeah, it seems like the 8 of Perrin Huggins, he was kind of able to get about as close as he is now, and that's where that 30 air is going to hit you the hardest. And right now, he's not been able to get much closer. I want to see if he's going to try to change his lane around a little bit. Again, we've seen the outside working for some guys.
Whoa.
Doesn't seem to be the preference of the leaders. Man, that was a big moment. Couldn't tell who that was. Was that the 37? Sure enough, it was.
Sure enough.
Ethan Burrell.
Yeah,
Man.
Burrell getting loose as a goose out of 1. Able to contain himself and keep it together, stay in the top 5. Just lost a little bit of time. Opens the door for Elliott Drummond to the inside of Matthew Weeks into turn 3. And Weeks is just going to let him by without a fight. And as you mentioned, Austin, Perrin Huggins, I believe, is slowly closing on Talon Smith. And we have a huge crash, and it looks like coming out of 3. Oh, mama. That is
At least
back
2
it up.
cars involved in this one. Looks like Mark Altus is going to be one of them. Can't tell who the other one is just yet. Now, it looks like the other one's going to be John Howard.
John Howard. All right, let's get in here. Oh, and already seeing it right there. Looks like John Howard just drives it a little too much. Into 3, Sawyers. Them getting together, 51 gets involved. Jack Link's car as well. That is unfortunate. Let's back it up again, get a little blimp cam action to kind of diagnose what happened here.
That was a pretty long wreck, too. That started just after entry to turn 3 and didn't finish up till almost the entrance of pit road. Just some contact there, Tom, and then a couple guys that just have absolutely nowhere to go. A couple other guys on the flip side do a great job missing it, but whoever that was that hit the inside wall that we called out, looks like got the worst damage. I believe that was Mark Altus. Sure enough, it was. That thing's beat pretty bad.
Yeah, it looks like Howard and Sawyers just get into each other enough. And that is unfortunate. Nick Wood getting a brunt of that. As well, looks like of the 38 car of Mark Altus. So again, Sawyers, Howard, Altus, all involved in that with Nick Wood.
So second non-scheduled caution of the night. Of course, we had the one for the stage break. So only realistically second caution of the night. And this one comes at kind of an interesting time because it's going to put us at probably around 15 laps to go when we take the green flag. And it's scoring Perrin Huggins as the leader here. So now I wonder, did a 53 try a little bit of strategy yet again? It looks like he has. Talon Smith currently finds himself on pit road.
Yeah, Talon again is a different driver from what we've heard. We've only heard rumors and rumbles of this young person. He is a strategizer, and we're seeing that playing out here so far tonight. Get you on board here in the pit lane cam so you can see your drivers get into it and see who gets off first.
And I'm really interested in what Talon had up his sleeve now, because seeing the rest of the field come down the pits here, maybe a little surprised, maybe not so much. I'd say in general, I wouldn't see too many guys pit at this point, but of course with 5 sets of tires, you're probably not expecting to use all 4 if you don't pit here. So I think I like this decision. Everybody had already taken one up to this point, or at least just about everyone has. This should be their second set, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, but 3 sets left. You're probably going to take 1 at the end of this stage, and then that should save you 2 for that final green flag run of 40-some laps or so.
And it looks like Cody Johnson is the first one out. Yeah, I would imagine that would be the second set you're going to use. Looks like Johnson's going to be your leader.
Well, I'm not betting real money on this guy, but I'm kind of rooting for him to win tonight because I was talking him up pretty good in the pre-race, so we'll see what he can do. But Ethan Burrell sitting in second, up 8 from where he started. He's been to the front for most of the night. Matthew Weeks finishing out the podium spot right now in third. Trey Holmes fourth, and Mike DeWalt, got to assume he's one of the fan favorites here. He finds himself rounding out the top 5 now, and we'll see what he can do as he finds his way closer to the front.
Yeah, Mike DeWalt in that Sports Clips 20 Toyota Camry. A guy who is also a big fan of The Office.
You know, Tom, I was trying to find something to back you up on that. I gotta say, I've never personally watched The Office. I've seen a lot of memes from it, but I'm gonna take your word for it.
And it looks like we're finding out through race control, Talon Smith is disconnected. Hopefully that's just a network issue and he'll be able to get back on. But so far, the word from race control is that he has disconnected.
That's a tough break, man. He had a fast car all night. And another guy that it looks like, I don't know, so much disconnected as race is going to come to an end early, is Mark Altus, who we saw get the worst of that last accident. John Howard is going to be the last running car on track right now in 30th position. 2 cars out here, though, in the first 30 laps. Not even halfway through this thing yet. Do you think that we can keep it green to the rest of the stage? Or do you think things maybe get a little crazy here trying to finish it up?
Oh, I think we're going to stay green. I think the drivers know enough about each other to get through it. I think there's just some guys who, sometimes just drive in over the head or drive, they just go too deep. But I think these guys up front here, they've been running clean all night. I don't anticipate that changing anytime soon.
If you're Cody Johnson, this is kind of make or break time. This is when you're really going to know how good your car is. You got it out front, you got the clean air, and you're going to have to try to hold on to it for another 15 laps. I don't think we're quite at that point where you can go full push for the rest of the stage if you're wanting your tires to have any grip at the end of it. I think maybe you get a little racy here these first 5 laps, hopefully single file out, maybe save them for 2 to 5 laps from there. And then those final 5, you got to go for it.
Oh, looks like we got another follower. Big shout out to Baconator Egg, who followed a little bit ago. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Always got to give a shout out.
Absolutely. I mean, we know just from broadcasting, Tom, one of the best feelings is when you get a follow. It doesn't matter how many follows you get that night. Each individual follow in itself is plenty exciting. But getting back to the racing on action here, Cody Johnson,
Green, green, green.
ready to lead us back to green. We're racing here in stage 2, 15 laps to go at Pocono.
It is back. Disco Fever. Looks like got some 3 wide. So far, so good. Let's look back here, see if everybody's getting along and playing nicely. Perrin Huggins near the rear of the field. He's going to try to make a big push. Elliott Drummond, Sean Anderson back there as well. But Cody Johnson is your leader with Ethan Burrell, Matthew Weeks, Trey Holmes, and Mike DeWalt, your top 5.
They're still trying to get things sorted out back here. We almost had 3 wide going to the tunnel turn. Surely that doesn't work. They're still trying to figure out. Now we're going to get a wreck. The 6 is around, almost gets into the 43. We'll see if this draws the caution. He hit that inside wall, what looked to be pretty hard, but we're going to stay green. Let's go back and take a look at what happened in that in just a moment.
Yeah, we're going to do that now. Let's do that now while we can.
And he's had to tow it, Tom, so he must have took a pretty big hit.
Yeah, looks like 6 bounced. Oh, hit Anderson, and oh, wow. I think we should have. Realistically, it should have been a caution if we're talking about it. It looks like 45 got collected.
Just looked to me, honestly, kind of like a stack-up effect, kind of as a byproduct of these restarts getting more and more aggressive. I mean, they had not had it sorted out that time at all. They were still 3 and 4 wide on both short shoots, and you know the tunnel turn is a really sketchy place to try to do that, and they could not quite get it sorted out on the exit.
Ethan Burrell is your new leader. Matthew Weeks is second, Trey Holmes in third, Mike DeWalt fourth, John Cumberland fourth.
And it looks like Tyler Steiner up to 6th spot, up 8 from where he started, but Nathan Fuller, one of your biggest movers right now, if not the biggest mover, second biggest mover next to Trey Holmes, who's up 24 from where he started. Nathan Fuller is up 22 from where he started, currently sitting in 7th in the Toyota Camry. But 3, almost 4 wide out back just behind him. They're still trying to get things sorted out, even a couple laps into this. Looks like that was the 8 of Perrin Huggins. He's still got some work to do, and he doesn't want to waste any time. Kyle Munson's going to stick it right on his door. We had one get in the wall as well here. The 47 of Jeremy Beal, he hangs on, but he's going to lose probably a handful of positions from that contact.
And a guy that we talked about before, I just want to highlight again, and has moved 24 spots from where he began. And Matt Albert moved his way in the top 10 into 9th. And never count out Tyler Curley, back up in the top 10. Simply stunning.
Especially when you consider that contact. Remember, he did have to use a fast trip in that first wreck he was in. So if he gets out of shape now and goes down to the inside wall, well, his night might be over. But watching the battle between these Burrell and Matthew Weeks, Matthew's been the first driver so far that I've seen actually trying to work a different line, trying to get some clean air. And it seems like it was kind of working for him. But another guy who made his return up here to the top 5 is John Cutlip. He's ready to get back to the front. We saw him at the front early, kind of struggled on the run just before this, but now that he's gotten back in the top 5, he looks like he wants more as he continues his march to the lead. Mike DeWalt is next up on the list, and he's up 10th from where he started, up in the podium position in 3rd.
Looks like Elias Morales hit pit lane as they were coming around. One of those guys that got caught up in that incident. So we have now Ethan Burrell, Matthew Weeks, Mike DeWalt, John Cutliff, and Trey Holmes, your top 5. Next time by will be 10 to go.
And the biggest battle on track right now is probably going to be between Matt Albert and Elliott Drummond. No surprise, he's another guy trying to get his way back to the front. A couple of too wide here and there, but we're kind of starting to get a little bit more spread out into those packs. I'm looking at the track map here from my position in the booth, and we're getting spread out probably between a quarter and a half the track length to make up the entire field. And to think that we're not even halfway yet, the racing so far has been pretty spectacular. We have had a lot of new leaders. In the 28 that we just noted, he is now ready to make that pass on Mikey Wald. He's not going to quite make it work. The biggest thing you got to do to get to the inside of driver right there is try to get the side draft. He couldn't get the job done on the 20, and Mikey Wald's able to hold on to that position for just another corner.
Yeah, and as you can see from the blimp cam, he's riding probably about a half a lane higher than the rest of the field. It looks like 28 is going to make the pass here. John Cutliff going for it. Coming up into lap traffic.
One thing these first two stages aren't going to prepare anybody for is going to be that green flag pit stop as they're lapping the 19. Man, he's still got heavy damage. Look at the left suspension. It feels about 45 degrees to the left. Not sure how he's going to get that thing to turn at this point. But either way, I was going to say these first two stages, we have not had to worry about any green flag stops unless it's been somebody that has chosen to pit, but they've kind of been by themselves. I haven't had to worry about it too much. I'll hold that thought for just a second. We're going to have a pass for the lead here. The 37 of Ethan Burrell. He's not going to be able to hang on much longer because the 11 of Matthew Weeks dives to the inside on the front stretch. He used that draft perfectly. Got a little bit of a side draft, but he tries to slam the door. Can't quite do it. The 37's going to hang that even. And the longer they're side by side, they're going to stall out as the 11 gets loose. Here comes the 28 of John Cutliff.
Yeah, Cutliff last week's winner for the Marlboro 150, and then Matthew Weeks 2 weeks ago, his first win was at Dolly Parton's Music City 200.
Almost had a spin out back, started to pitch off. It looked like it was the 9 who still losing
Yellow
spots.
flag is out.
He was able to save it. That's Trey Holmes, he did it. Oh, big contact.
Oh! Let's back it up and see what we can find here. Dirty, dirty jungle of love. See what we got here. He just hits just a little too hard. Comes back up the track. Slams on his brakes. Oh, and then collects two. Oh. And that is a brutal. Let's back it up one more time.
I'm hoping we get word that the drivers are able
no.
to climb from their cars in that one. Because, oh my goodness, that's going to at least destroy probably 3 of these cars. And I'm not sure if all the guys that were in it have a fast spare. The 44, Tyler Steiner, he makes more contact here because, I mean, the whole thing is just destroyed. He gets in the 29 of Elliott Drummond. And 47 as well before he makes more contact. Elliott
Drummond took probably the biggest hit of the night so far on Trey Holmes. Looks like everybody's able to avoid it except one. And oh, what a hit. Jeremy Beal, he's involved. Matt Albert got into that a little bit. Unfortunately, his bad luck continues. And the looks like the 44. Hold on, one more moment here. Looks like the 44. I don't have a number for him anywhere. Looks like Tyler Steiner, unfortunately, involved in that as well. Yeah, clips him in the back, spins around. Drummond comes and finishes him off. Thankfully, people were able to avoid him. But a little bit more action up front. That is unfortunate.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, that wreck was kind of an awkward wreck. We know from a driver's standpoint there, you know, sometimes when you get down to the bottom there and you're trying to get it back right, and you overcorrect, it's usually if you're on the throttle too long and the back tires are just spinning. But in that case, it almost looked like he kind of had gotten it back straight, but when he locked up the brakes, it was just off probably a couple degrees, 10 degrees or so from being straight. But when you have the brakes locked, of course, the car can't turn, and he was kind of just in that awkward slide for a little bit before he got tagged, and unfortunate place to do it, just kind of a smoke screen, and guys just not able to check up in time. But either way, probably our biggest wreck so far tonight.
Yeah, that was definitely an action-packed field one. Unfortunately, it's going to collect some really good drivers in that. Not sure what the result is going forward. Hopefully they had some fast repairs or had a fast repair to use. If not, their nights are over. So Matthew Weeks, John Cutlip, Nathan Fuller, Tyler Curry, and Parrot Huggins, your top 5 with Lucas Reed, Matt Albert, Brandon Meyer, Nick Wood, and Sean Anderson rounding out your top 10. Cody Johnson, who led off the last restart, has fallen all the way back to 19th.
I didn't really expect pit stops from too many guys. We might have had a couple people try it, including, looks like Ethan Burrell, considering the positions he's fallen here from the time of the caution. I got to assume he pit, but you know, I don't know about this decision. I always like the idea of having extra tires towards the end, and with the way it's kind of trended, I wouldn't be surprised if we see maybe 1 or 2 late cautions in this race. And I would certainly like to have a set left over for any race that's probably 15 laps or under at the end of this thing.
Right, right. A nice set of freshies at the end is always good to have. Hopefully the lights are going off here, and that they are. So they're going to grid up. Matthew Weeks, John Cutlip on the front row, Nate Fuller, Tyler Curry, row 2, Parrot Huggins, Lucas Reed, row 3, Matt Albert, Brandon Meyer, row 4, Nick Wood and Sean Anderson at row 5, Michael Walding and Josh Cole, row 6, Michael Minchakin and Ethan Burrell, row 7, Mike DeWalt and Elliot Drummond, row 8, Robert Fitzpatrick and Keith Sawyers, row 9, Kyle Munson and Jeremy Beal, row 10, and Aiden Lund, John Howard, row 11. Cody Johnson and Chris Lawrence, row 12. And then it looks like Trey Holmes and Brandon Smith, row 13. And then Tyler Steiner and Mark Holloway, row 14. And Christopher Pugliese and Elias Morales, row 15.
So looking back, it looks like Elliot Drummond, it's a little hard to tell with the way his paint scheme. I'm assuming he probably used the fast pair from that last caution as he took a pretty big hit. So if he doesn't have another one here, he's got a lot of field to try to work through here. And I think at this point, you know, I know every driver's mind's different. I think if I'm in the seat of the 29 as fast as I am tonight, maybe take it a little bit slower right here. Again, we're going to have another break here in just about 5 laps when we go green. So I think just try to pick off some positions. Don't put yourself in too much risk. If you can maybe make up 5 spots or so right here, that next restart, make up some more spots, and on the long run, he might find himself back in the lead of this thing.
Absolutely, as we are getting set to go back, green flag racing. Matthew Weeks is going to kick it off. All right, let's go. Pace car coming around turn 3 and dropping off. Matthew Weeks is going to lead us down, hopefully for the conclusion of stage 2 of the Dundies 250. John Cutlip cuts right back in the line, and 91 of Tyler Curley does the unthinkable and cuts off Nathan Fuller. Parrot Huggins right there lurking in the top 5 with Matt Albert and Lucas Reed knocking on that door. Speaking of knocking on doors, John Cutlip to the inside of Matthew Weeks.
They're trying to sort it out. We got more white action back here. It looks like it's going to be Elliot Drummond. He's trying to work his way to the field cautiously, but he's going to get a couple bad positions here. They sorted out back to 2 wide. We do have a couple in the wall, and now they're back to 3 wide, the 37 on the inside. This is again towards the back, getting a push from the 9. They're going to try to get it sorted out. The 56 thought about going 3 wide down into 3, and as they do finally sort it out, we go back up front. Yep, John Cutlip trying to pull away here as we take lap 42 of 100.
Sweet Jesus, as John Cutlip is your new leader, Tyler Curley, Matthew Weeks, Parrot Huggins, and Nathan Fuller, your top 5. Another tidbit for you to know, Austin, Parrot Huggins and Nathan Fuller are not fans of each other. So if you see any aggressiveness towards them, that's all love. All love.
Well, if they're going to get into it, I'm hoping we can see him throw hands post-race live on the broadcast. But how about the move we saw from the 91 of Tyler Curley on that restart? I mean, that's a guy that's got no fear and wants to go for the win. Normally, if we're talking about someone with no fast repairs, just as I say that, he tags the outside a little bit there, but he's not scared. He's still going for this thing. He knows that's what it's going to take, and there is Parrot Huggins. Looks like he is back on the rocket ship here, so he's going to make a 2-for-1 right there, maybe looking for more here off of turn 3.
Yeah, again, Tyler Curley in one of those early wrecks, unfortunately getting out of turn 1, spinning out. having to waste the fast repair early for Tyler Curley. No rhyme intended. But we have just 3 laps to go for the end of stage 2. Parent Huggins is right there. Everybody minding their P's and Q's for the moment. Curley to the inside.
And this is going to get really tight exiting the tunnel turn, especially when he blinks in the middle of it. The 28 is wondering where he went. Oh my goodness. Appears right in front of the 8, but takes it 3 wide. This is going to be sketchy getting down into turn 3. Can they make it work? Almost some contact, but Parent Huggins gets clear as the 91, battling out with the 24 of Nathan Fuller. And they're still side by side here as we come to 2 to go on the stage.
It is hot and heavy. John Cutlip, your leader. Parent Huggins in second. Fuller going to the inside of Matthew Weeks. Side by side for the lead and for 3rd place. This is wild.
Oh my goodness, that was a really close call for Parent Huggins. He almost lost it. It's going to lose a couple positions from it to Matthew Weeks and Nathan Fuller. But they still have 1 more lap around it right now. Everybody seems even enough where this is going to be a game of who catches the draft at the right spot. But Nathan Fuller and Matthew Weeks near miss there out of the tunnel turn, and they're still going at it down into turn 3.
I don't know if you caught that, Austin, but Tyler Curley gave Nathan Fuller a bump going into the tunnel turn. Yeah, that was wild.
That was another close call there off the turn that time. Man, these guys really struggling with handling, but no fear. But what that has allowed is for John Cutlip to pull away. We got a wreck out back. White flag was in the air. We'll see if that brings out a caution at the entrance of pit road. We had one spin. Couldn't tell exactly who it was.
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
And that is going to... Oh, we have more action. Looks like Lucas Reed. Oh, and Tyler Curley. What the heck just happened?
I'm asking the same question. So we saw
Here
that
we
spin in
go.
the background, but don't think that's what brought out the caution.
Oh, looks like that was Cody Johnson. Yeah, he hits the cones, and it looks like... Oh, baby Jesus. Tyler Curley got sent to the cleaners by Parent Huggins. Oh, yeah, right across Huggins' nose. Comes back up and collects Reed with him. Oh, my goodness, this does not look good.
Definitely going to have some hurt feelings after that one. Lucas Reed definitely got the worst of that, as well as the 91 backs it in. And we talked about not having a fast repair racing aggressive, and this is the most important item. What happens, the price you might have to pay with that being the case.
Yeah, it looks like he got collected, and that'll do it, I believe, for Cutlip. That's probably going to end his night for sure.
Well, you know,
We'll
unless,
see.
of course, Tom, he's got enough speed to come back out to accomplish a certain goal. But leave that for interpretation, see what happens later on in this thing. But race-worthy, yep, for sure. Nothing left of that thing.
Who is Justice Beaver? We'll find out here. But John Cutlip is going to be your Stage 2 winner from Fairfax, Virginia. He is your Stage 2 winner of the Dundies 250. All right, we're going to give you a moment to collect your thoughts and get ready for the final stage as these guys pit. And we'll give you a moment to hear the sights and sounds of the Gears Cup Series. welcome back to the Gears Cup Series. As we are at Pocono Raceway for the Dundies 250, getting ready for the final stage. Haven't done a loose and loud segment tonight, but as Black Sheep has mentioned, things are getting spicy. As we get closer to the end, you're going to definitely see that play out more and more. But so far, it has been a great race. You see some cars getting waved around as we're getting to the one to go. We're going to get right back at it. Ethan Burrell and Michael DeWalt are going to be on the front row.
Well, another thing here to note is we talked about he's not going to be race ready, but 91, he's found his way back out on the track, and you know he's probably got a pretty heated head right now. So we'll see what he tries to accomplish for the rest of this race. But this is where we're really going to start to separate the men from the boys here, Tom, is if we are to have a green flag pit stop, and whoever can get through those clean. I expect, I'm not sure if you have the exact number, I sure don't, but I'm assuming it's probably at least 2 pit stops here in the final stage. What do we think?
Well, we did come to find out in our practice run the other night, you can really make it about 19, 20 laps on a fuel run. So that'll make things a little bit interesting. You might have to, you definitely will have to come in at least twice. Unless you're able to save, at least twice.
And you better be pretty much perfect on both of those stops. It does not take much. A slight mistake can certainly hurt your chances. Now, I hope I'm not stealing any segment later. If I do, please cut me off. But I was going to say, just looking ahead at some of the highlight races, at least that I would be looking at as a driver coming up. How about Legacy Motor, Texas Motor Speedway? Not next week, but the week after, and then Atlanta Motor Speedway. That's going to be an interesting one for sure. Kind of that mix of what we see here.
Yeah, and tensions are only going to get higher the further we go down the line, because playoffs are coming up quickly. And yeah, we'll see you on the 28th for Legacy, Texas. As Ethan Burrell's going to lead us down now in green flag racing. We are back for the final stage of the Dundies 250.
A lot of these guys probably viewing this as a potential final restart towards the back. We got one darting off, but this one a lot more tame, at least so far. These guys choose to work down into one. Not really too much through line action. The 37 out to a great jump. Looks like the 28 of John Cutler maybe got a little tight, had to bail out of the throttle. That allows Mike DeWalt, highest spot so far tonight. He's up 11 up to second.
Spicy in the back indeed. Aiden Lund, Tyler Curley, Luke Reed, Josh Cole, Chris Lawrence going to the tunnel turn. It is hot, and it looks like somebody is banging the wall. And we see an accident, and we have a yellow flag. You could read that from a mile away. And unfortunately, that was Michael Walding. As you saw him take the tunnel turn as we were on the blimp cam, he took it hard. And let's see how that played out a little bit closer. Yeah, he just looks like they locked him up, skips the wall, comes back down across the nose of Josh Cole, takes Aiden Lund. And that is unfortunate.
It really is, especially for Aiden Lund. He was having a pretty good run tonight. Even after this, he's still up 6 from where he started, so he's probably up at least 10. And having a good run, and just nothing he can do there. An innocent victim, but the innocent victim in this case is going to be the one that probably gets it the worst. Because that Dr. Pepper paint scheme is pretty banged up. That's going to be a fast car for him for sure, I got to believe.
Yeah, and that is too bad for Aiden Lund. Aiden Lund trying to make the playoffs desperately. Hasn't been able to get those stage points, which are critical. Just had a bad run of luck as of late as we're riding along. Gyro cam, he doesn't even see it coming and just gets taken out. Just taken to the cleaners, and that is unfortunate, but that is what it is here in the Gears Cup Series. And that is another caution. So hopefully here we get some green flag racing. We want to do our first loose and loud segment. We haven't done that yet tonight. Black Sheep, hopefully you got a beverage with you, and the rest of you at home listening along, lurking, all 20 of you viewing on this channel. Thank you for joining us and hanging out. I am Tom Torrey, aka The Horse Boat, alongside my special guest from Ghost Racing Network, Austin Green. Very excited to have him with me here tonight. again, he's going to be along with us here on July 28th for Legacy, Texas. So happy to have you back. Hopefully we can get you for one more here for the playoffs. But again, thank you for joining me in the booth.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure so far, and we are officially halfway through this thing. So the fact that we get to commentate for another 50 is pretty exciting, because it always seems like the energy and the excitement from the broadcast booth in general, that's kind of what we live for. We turn it up towards the end of the race, and those final laps are always the most fun to watch. Now, we're starting to slowly trim down the field, thinning the herd, whatever you want to call it here, as this thing gets going. We do have at least 2, I believe it's more like 4 cars now out. And in fact, you can see it there on your scoring tower rolling on the left. When it goes down 20th to 30th, you'll see who's all out of this thing and who's a lap down. Got a lot of guys in the pits here as well. And right now it looks like, I believe that's going to be the 10 car. Reed is being scored as the first car a lap down. But up front, Ethan Burrell still leading the way here. And Mike DeWalt, man, he has really impressed me, Tom. I mean, we talked about he would have some speed throughout this race, but he always seems like one of those guys where if we talk about someone who's good on the long run, I feel like he would fit that category. And then somebody who's just going to click off all the laps, and in that case be there at the end, because they are going to learn the most out of everybody else, and he has fit that profile here tonight, that is for sure.
I call him in my mind Mr. Consistency, because he's always seeming to finish in the top 10 or top 5. He only has a win on the year, which was at the Milwaukee Mile, but he is definitely a guy that you're going to always see him up there. He's always going to be around. Again, as if the standings are accurate, he has 16 top 10s on the year. So, I mean, he has really not started. Out of the 17 starts, he has finished in the top 10 of 16 of them, finished in the top 5 of 9 of them, and then the top 3, he's finished 6 of them. So he is Mr. Consistency, and why he is the points leader. Sean Anderson is one of those guys, too. You always see him around. He's very consistent. He has made 17 starts as well, and he has 15 top 10s. So he's right there with top 5s with 8, and then top 3s with 5. So he is all over his tail. Again, 115 points out of the lead per se, but definitely trying to close that door. He's got to stay in front of him, and a good point for him if he wants to make any headway to gain the lead.
How about some of the guys that are kind of, I guess maybe the word would be sneaking up on us here a little bit, or more or less sneaking into the top 10? How about Nick Wood in 9th, up 6 from where he started?
Yeah.
Robert Fitzpatrick, 10th, up 15 from where he started, and Keaton Sailors